Hi, everybody.
Morning. Welcome to the June 8th EMEA Kubernetes demo meeting. It's just a few discussion points on the agenda today. Let's start off with Camel Proxy. Ahmad, I know you've been working on this keenly lately. You want to give us a little update as to what's going on?
Yes, I've been pairing with Scarback since yesterday to add network policy to fix securing camel proxy on Kubernetes. So the MR is ready. I think I will get to just tackle the comments on the MR, and Graham, I think, is going to review it, and then we are good to go. After this, we have a CR to roll it out to production, but I'm not sure if we actually gonna do this this week or next week. We need to tackle SHD first, and this is the next item point.
So before we move on to the next item point, I do want to clarify that the CR that was originally created, I kind of ripped it apart and just kind of created segregated issues. So we now have a issue that's dedicated to tracking the deployment of Camel Proxy to production, not necessarily the pushing of traffic into Camel Proxy just yet. I just wanted to create the segregated epic. So it's just, I just separated this effectively made the change request a lot smaller in general. That way we're doing a lot less intense maintenance procedure.
Did we lose Scarback?
I think he's back.
Am I back?
Yeah.
I'm back.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was being told my internet connection was unstable, so I don't know where we dropped off, but I've mucked with the Camel Proxy epic and the issues to make things easier to track. After we get this network policy pushed, we could pull the issue that enables us to deploy Camel Proxy to production. That does not include moving traffic to it. It's just the deploy step. That way it's just one segregated thing to keep the change request as small as possible. Any questions related to Camel Proxy before we move on? Okay. GitLab SSHD. Let's talk about this for a hot second. It looks like Marin got involved because there's been quite a bit of confusion as to what the status of this project is and what the current next steps are. If we look at the latest update provided by, let's see, Sean, there appears to be a little bit of confusion around what 100% of traffic on Canary actually means. So I'm just going to share my screen just because I'm looking at this stuff. GitLab Canary with a rollout of 50% and then a rollout of GitLab SSHD on Canary to 100%. I think Marin was speaking in different terminology than what we as the technical infrastructure engineers understand with this. GitLab Canary, or excuse me, the Canary stage has been running with GitLab SSHD toggled because it's a toggle. It's not a feature flag. It's not serving a percentage of traffic. Canary is serving a percentage of production traffic. The configuration of GitLab SSHD has been turned on for all traffic going into the Canary stage since we rolled it out. And we have rolled it to Canary multiple times and rolled it back multiple times. But since what's been, was it Ahmad 2 weeks ago, we rolled it out and it sat that way finally at this point?
Yeah, and then you actually did the 100% rollout after that.
Another test. So that So that test is separate. So we've been rolling, Canary has been running with GitLab SSHD 100% of the time since we rolled it out. So I think from this standpoint, we're like, we're done. Like, I think this is either a miscommunication or maybe a different thought that Marin had. So I think there's a little bit of miscommunication happening. I do not want to push 100% of traffic onto Canary. That would be a dangerous thing because that kind of messes up with auto deploy, and that increases risk when it comes to dealing with incidents. And our natural tendency with incidents is identify if Canary is the root cause. If it is, quickly drop traffic from it as quickly as possible. We've made that process really easy. And what I would hate for us to do is push 100% of the traffic to Canary, and then suffer an incident and we turn off traffic to Canary, and now GitLab is just completely gone for anyone who's running the Git command line interface at all. So I don't want to do that. So I think our next step, in my opinion, is to push main stage, enable GitLab SSHD on the main stage. And Michele, you mentioned in a conversation between you and I that we need to make sure that gets updated down here. So I will certainly do that at the end of this meeting.
Perfect.
Which means if that is the case, this has already been accomplished. I don't know why that's still on the implementation plan. This, as far as I know, should be active, so I don't know why we have a TBD status. This is not going to happen. This is technically incorrect from my viewpoint, so I think it should be removed. What really needs to be added here is the rollout of GitLab SSHD into production, which we have a CR for. It's been tested multiple times. We know how to accomplish this. If we could accomplish that today or tomorrow, if we could accomplish that this week, I think we'll be on the positive side of implementation overall, and I would love to see that accomplished. From my viewpoint, we're not blocked on the pen test because that's specific to the proxy protocol, which is a separate effort. That's like phase 2, effectively, of this rapid action group. I'm not sure what else to say about that.
AppSec already gave the green light for us also to go to the main stage. So this is, and as soon as we finish this call, I'm going to work with Sean to update the table that you just mentioned to reflect actual status. I think the only thing that may be in this audience is good to understand if you're rolling out tomorrow to production in stage, is tomorrow, tonight, do we want to set a date for tomorrow so we can communicate in the issue?
I already set the due date for tomorrow.
Okay,
I can execute it tomorrow.
Perfect. Sounds
Perfect.
Good. We have everything. Thank you.
All right, good. So from my vantage point, it sounds like we're all in agreement with where we are. Do we need to do anything with this issue to ensure that Sean and Igor and everyone else who's following the rapid action, do we need to do anything to make sure that everyone else is on the same page as we are?
No, I think I'll make sure that with Sean that we communicate the stuff we just spoke about right now. Feel free to highlight the risk of the point that we're not going to do, so going to 100% of Canary. But apart from that, the date for the change request for production is already set to tomorrow. I think we proceed with that. AppSec, give the green light. I don't see any other blocker, and I think we are out of in the game at least.
Okay. All right. So I'll follow up after this meeting, like I said earlier, and then it sounds like you're good to go. So, okay, cool. Any other questions related to GitLab SSHD before we move on? Okay. So the last thing I wanted to showcase is that we've got some sort of issue flaring up with a specific customer. It appears to be that during a deploy, we get a lot of error messages coming from nginx indicating that it is unable to connect to a given pod. And is this API traffic or is this web traffic? This is API traffic. So this is something that we experienced 2 years ago after we first moved the API over into Kubernetes. And we identified it at the time where nginx was seeing an awkwardly load balanced amount of traffic to some pods. So nginx receives traffic slightly different than the rest of our services. The traffic gets evenly routed to all the nodes in a cluster versus all the traffic being sent to the service endpoint, and then Kubernetes is load balancing within itself. And what we discovered, either last year or the year before, was that because of this imbalance, sometimes we had 2 pods running on a node and sometimes we had 1 pod running on a node. And because the traffic was evenly balanced at the Google load balancer to the nodes, 1 pod would be suffering while the other 2 are just like, oh, yeah, I could handle this load. It's fine. And while a deploy is occurring, nginx is a little sluggish to update because it's turning so much trying to serve that traffic that it is failing to, or sluggish rather, to update its connection table to connect to the appropriate pods. So this is something that we investigated quite keenly on. That investigated issue is the second link on this bullet point, item number 4. And I linked directly to the results table because this is a really, really long issue. And I fear this might be flaring up again. So this looks like it's currently sitting in the reliability team. I'm going to try to shepherd the investigation for this, but not actively participate in it, just in an effort to try to spread the knowledge of Kubernetes amongst the rest of infrastructure. But this is also a tough problem, so I could understand if they need to come to us for further questions. I have not looked into this very deeply, so I do not know if what we investigated prior is the exact same root cause as this situation that recently flared up. So I'm going to wait for Mina to come back with further details. This was something that I was just pinged on. I think it was Monday. I was just pinged on this one. So this is still kind of fresh at this moment. So at the moment, there's no action from my viewpoint for team delivery to take on this issue. I just wanted to raise it as, I wanted to raise it for awareness. That's all. But if we do have to investigate this, it's going to be tough. It was not easy. I didn't like working on it. So it's not fun.
Is it related to the issue that Henry was investigating a couple of months ago?
Maybe. The API and nginx.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be. And that's something that Henry never finished. And then he
No.
decided to leave us. So I'm kind of bitter, but so be it. This is a public meeting. I should be cautious about that. But I don't know. I'm going to wait for Maina to come back before we try to do anything else with this issue. But I'm not looking forward to it if it's going to be something that we need to spend a lot of effort on. So, relatively short agenda today. I guess to end the meeting, does anyone have any interesting Kubernetes tidbits of information that they recently ran across in this last few weeks or so that they want to share that might be fun and interesting to share with others? No one. No one's done anything with Kubernetes.
I think we did.
All right. Well, in that case, we could end the meeting. So thanks for joining. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you all later.